Welcome back to Insight. On today's show, of course, we've been hearing from leaders at the Quad Cities Chamber about programs helping lift up small businesses. So joining us again for some final thoughts, Brandy Poston, the Chamber's Manager of Inclusion. We still have Rachel Pitchford with us from Life Advisors LLC and Nadia Coley from the Royal Lotus Nails. So let's talk about what's next for the Chamber in this space when it comes to propping up some of these small businesses.
So we will continue down this path. We will support as many business owners that will come and let us walk alongside them in their journey. We will just keep trudging along.
Yeah, and you know, you work with those emerging business owners. You two are emerging business owners and out running thriving businesses. So tell us about, in terms of what do they need to know to get to where you are and to hopefully continue to succeed in whatever business they want to go.
Yeah, my philosophy is leap and the net will appear. And so that doesn't mean taking some extravagant risks, you know, something like that, but a lot of times it's just as simple as taking the leap into networking or just being willing to put yourself out there and let people know and asking for what you want, and sometimes you can be very surprised at the results.
Yeah. For me, it's, I like to tell people, you know, don't be afraid to just take the step forward, because you never know what's going to happen. Every day I wake up and I tell myself, Nadia, what's for you is for you, and that's what's going to be. And so as long as you stay focused and you keep pushing forward and, you know, you don't let anything or anyone deter you, you know, you'll be just fine. Just keep trucking along. Don't stop.
Brandy, what about you?
I'm sorry.
In terms of what do emerging business owners need to know in order to get their business
I
off the
would say
ground?
use your resources. There are resources out here. Go to the SCORE of the Quad Cities. Go to the SBDCs of the Quad Cities. Come by the Chamber and see me. Use your resources. That would be my biggest advice.
You know, one of the interesting things that we've kind of talked about it during the course of this show, there are a lot of small businesses, minority-owned businesses popping up in the Quad Cities and thriving. From each of your perspectives, tell me what that's like, seeing that not only from the perspective of having and running a small business, but seeing others thrive in that same space. What's that like?
It's a good feeling to have. It's just to see people who are willing to embrace their talents and their passions. And so it doesn't have to be a certain size or a certain thing, whether it is a side hustle or something that somebody has fully immersed, you know, all of their time, energy, and resources into. It's just good to see that people are even willing to take those steps and take those leaps and, you know, kind of start that journey, because, you know, we have to have that next generation of innovation, of those leaders and people who are helping build a community, and, you know, having these resources such as the Chamber and the business councils to help keep those things sustainable, you know, is truly priceless.
Yes. It's really amazing, because coming from where some of us come from, it's not what we've seen. So to be able to see, you know, people who look like you, who walk like you and talk like you, who can relate to you in a lot of ways, being able to fulfill their dreams and not being afraid to take those leaps and bounds to get to where they can go, it's truly amazing, and it's refreshing. It's refreshing to see, and I'm proud of it. You know, as a woman, as a Black woman, I'm proud of it.
I agree. I echo your same sentiments. It is so rewarding to see a person take a business idea and make a complete livelihood out of it. I love to see it.
Yeah, and you know, when you talk about having a dream, an idea of something, and actually putting that to fruition and making it a reality, it's obviously a very difficult thing to do, obviously, as you all would certainly know about. In terms of people who are still like on the fence, maybe just a little bit concerned, they have these issues, they have ideas of, you know, scared of failure, things like that. What do you tell them in terms of how they can get over that and potentially live out their dreams?
Yeah, so whether you think you can or you think you can't,
That's what it is.
It's the truth. And so, again, it's kind of speaking to just taking that leap, and it doesn't have to be a big leap. A lot of times, beginning with a mentor. So if there's someone in that field, you know, taking advantage of those opportunities to network, or using some of those resources such as SCORE, who can help walk them through those processes to help eliminate some of those fears, and even help analyze that business plan, walking through a business plan with them, just to test the feasibility of an idea, and really just using that mentorship aspect is probably one thing that I would recommend, especially if they're on the fence and don't quite know if they would possibly succeed in that industry, and just really getting people who have been there, done that, and have, you know, who've done all the things that they don't have to necessarily go through, because they have had the opportunity to lean on those, the knowledge of that other person and those insights, gain those insights.
For me, what I would say is take it one day at a time, you know, one step at a time. Don't try and do more than what you can or what you know, follow the steps, you know, and move at your pace. But also don't be afraid, because if you fall down and break a bone, it's going to fuse back stronger, right? So just continue to get up and continue to move forward, and don't quit. That's my main thing. Don't stop. Just don't quit. Keep pushing, always. Because at the end of the day, as long as you continue to do what you are seeking to do, and you keep pushing and you keep communicating with people and keep putting yourself out there and opening yourself up, you'll get there. It might take you a little bit longer because you're starting and you don't know where you're going, but as long as you continue to move forward, you'll get there.
And then if I could add, another thing that I have found beneficial is if a person is on the fence about a certain industry, or can I do this, get a job in that industry. It's like a free degree, and having that experience. And so just, even if it's only 6 months or 1 year or whatever you need to do to gain or the insights, or, you know, learn the ins and outs of how something works, because sometimes you get in the job and once you start learning all the process and systems, you might be like, whoa, this is extremely overwhelming, or I would never want to be the person who has to manage, you know, all these pieces. And other times you're like, this is great. All I have to do is, you know, fill in the blank. And so I think one of the greatest things that a person can do is that mentorship, and then getting a job in that industry that they want to do a business in, and just really saying, is this something that I truly want to do, before investing a ton of time or financial resources into something.
Yeah. And you know, it takes a lot of inspiration to do the jobs that you all do. What inspires you all the most? I'm curious to know, in terms of keeping on with the missions and the businesses that you guys run. What inspires you to keep doing it, even through some of those hardships that you might face?
I would say seeing the outcomes. I am so passionate, especially when I'm going through a consultation, or just speaking with someone and just seeing where they want to take their business and how they would like to grow. And so my mind is going a mile a minute with all these ideas, and, you know, all of these directions that something can, you know, we can move towards. And just knowing that we can do that as a collaborative effort and help this business grow, be a staple in our community, or, you know, just be something that we both can be proud of, and just having that opportunity just to collab with them and, you know, share some of that knowledge, or, you know, all the things that I have had the opportunity, you know, to gain over the years, and just really help them. Just a lot of intrinsic value from it.
What about you? What inspires you?
What inspires me is exactly what happened here today. Hearing Nadia talk about the resource that I was able to connect her with, and then hearing how her business is thriving as a result of that connection, that's exactly why I do this. Like, it is just amazing to me. And that's what keeps me going, honestly.
For me, it's actually being in a position where I can be the mentor to others that I was seeking in the beginning. You know, it is something that I've always wanted to do, and I've always sought to. I love to empower women, so if I can do that in any way. And also, I have a 6-year-old son that told me that he doesn't want to make anybody else's money, that he wants to make his own money. And so I want to teach him how to do that and be that, and let him know that, you know, he can be successful on his own and he can make his own money.
What a great mind that he has at 6 years old to have that type of
amazing
mentality.
boy.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, all of you. It's really great to speak with you, and best of luck to all of you in your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
Of course. We'll wrap up the show in just a moment. This is Insight.